days after they left the National Zoo for good, there's a chance more giant pandas could be returning to the U.S. China's president signaled that new pandas could be sent back to the United States during a meeting with President Biden in San Francisco. President Xi says that he learned how reluctant Americans were to say goodbye to the animals who called D.C. home for decades. He called the pandas envoys of friendship. However, there are no details on when or where pandas might be sent. Right now, there are 4 left in America, and they're at the Atlanta Zoo. And joining me now is Sarakshi Rai. She's the Director of Audience Development and Head of Social Media at The Hill. Sarakshi, thanks for joining us once again. Let's get right to it. The pandas at the National Zoo have been a staple for years, and they got a huge farewell from the district. Is there some good news now? Could we actually get the pandas back?
Well, there might be some good news, but before things get, too excited and people get too excited and their hopes up, I will add a caveat that, while there might be good news, Chinese President Xi hinted that Beijing could send pandas back to the United States, but it's the wrong coast. So they're going to probably send them back to San Diego is what he hinted at. It's not official, it's not set in stone, but this means that, there could be a chance for pandas to return to DC. He did acknowledge in his speech earlier this week how difficult it has been for Americans to say goodbye to their 3 pandas in DC. The San Diego Zoo has also not had pandas since 2019 when they sent their last pandas home to China. And right now, the only pandas left in the United States are actually in Atlanta, but they're also supposed to be heading back soon. So while this is good news, the only caveat I'll add is that they need to flesh out some things still for us to really see our favorite pandas, return to DC.
Well, let's talk history here for a second. How did the agreement between the U.S. and China begin on the pandas?
It's really interesting. This panda conservation program that hasn't been in place for decades now has often been referred to as panda diplomacy, right? It actually started in the 1970s when President Nixon and his wife went to Beijing for their first visit, and this visit by a U.S. president to China came after years of a freezing of U.S.-China relations. And, the First Lady happened to mention to the then Prime Minister that she, loved pandas. And so they gifted the U.S. 2 pandas in 1972. It really also signified a warming of ties after decades of a bad relationship. And, since then, it's been pandemonium, right, in the United States. But at the end of the day, the agreement that exists between the U.S. and some of the U.S. And China is that Beijing owns the pandas at the end of the day and any offspring that come of it. And the U.S. is required to pay a conservation fee to house them. So the National Zoo has paid up to $500,000 a year for them. So really, while this program has been going on for decades, it really signified a warming of ties in 1972.
Well, China's relationship with the U.S. and vice versa, certainly has been strained in recent years. Could the pandas really be a way to unite the 2 countries, or at least help lessen that strain?
Definitely. Even President Xi said that the pandas have been an envoy of friendship between the U.S. and China, right? And a revival of this panda conservation program would signify a thaw in U.S.-China relationships, even though it is, not as probably detailed as, an economic agreement or a trade agreement, but this does signify that the relationship is thawing and warming. So, the pandas' departure, from the U.S. also follows a series of other departures, where zoos across the United States have seen pandas leave in recent years. And this has also all been taking place at the same time as U.S.-China relationship has worsened. Are those 2 related? Are they not? I mean, that's up to, the viewers to decide. But, what we do see is that when the relationship between the 2 countries is great, Americans have pandas in their zoo.
Sarakshi Rai with The Hill, thank you for joining us.